Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience here in Mississippi, WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all could be with us. Also, joining us are our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. We're glad you all could be with us as well. When I say the name Steven Weber, you probably have a lot of different projects that come to mind. But most recently, we've seen him bring to life Dr. Dean Archer on the hit show Chicago Med on NBC. They're gearing up for their season finale coming up on May 25th. We're going to talk to Steven for the first time on our program about this journey for him as an actor, what it's been like for him to see the success of the show, and also what maybe we can look forward to for the season finale. Steven, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you on with us, Steven. I want to talk about the great thing about you, and I meant what I said in my intro. I mean, you've been able to be a part of so many great projects, both dramas like Chicago Med, but also comedic roles as well. What has that experience been like for you to kind of really show your range as an actor?
It's been incredibly, it's been very fortunate for me, because it's the type of career that I always wanted to have. When I first started out, I wanted to have something that was varied, and I've been able to do that. It's been fun. It's been fun going back and forth between kind of affable characters and kind of broken, darker characters, and it's been really interesting, an interesting journey.
Yeah. Well, speaking of broken and dark, that does lead us to Chicago Med and Dr. Dean Archer. I mean, I love this show, Steven. I do, and I love. I'm one of these people. Maybe because of the profession, I'm drawn to the characters that seem to kind of be the bad guys, or at least the antagonists.
Yeah.
It's so interesting for us as a viewer. What has it been like for you to bring the layers of Dr. Archer to life?
Well, first of all, one of the funny things about playing Dr. Archer is that when I run into some medical professionals who have watched the show, they say that that's as accurate a portrayal as they've seen of doctors, especially surgeons, who are a combination of seen it all, done it all, and also they're a bit of a rock star. So there's arrogance there. There's a lot of things. The character itself came to me in a way that I realized I had a connection to it. My father was in a Korean War veteran, and he suffered from PTSD. And I realized that this character had a similar background, similar characteristics: quick to anger, slightly unstable, and searching for balance. And so, playing Dean Archer is in a way a kind of a little homage to my dad, who had similar struggles. I mean, he wasn't as sociopathic as Dean Archer was certainly in the beginning of his run, when you had to watch out that he wouldn't kind of jab you with a needle and remove your kidney when you weren't looking. But he's since become a little more grounded but nonetheless still searching for that kind of that balance, that understanding, that compassion. And at the same time, he's still aware of his abilities to help people, to save lives.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting. It's a well-written character, and I look forward to playing him further.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing here, Steven. I think it's appropriate we're having this conversation and what's being celebrated as Mental Health Awareness Month, right, and that the finale is coming during this month, because there is, I think, when people see this show, and then, of course, they see your character and the run-ins that sometimes we find him with, there is this idea of being able to deal with one's own demons. Does it make it even more fun for you, Steven, that you're able to play this character with such an amazing cast?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, oh, my God, it's great working with Brian T., who plays Ethan Choi, and Oliver Platt, and I was always a huge fan, had a major crush on Ipatha Murkison, and so to get a chance to work with those people has been brilliant. And the thing is that most actors are really almost kind of blue collar. I mean, we get and by that I mean you get the impression that we're on TV and we're all leading lives. We're sipping champagne and all that stuff. No, it's not an easy job, and we're always, we're getting up early, going home late, and there's very little glamour, and so it's you bond a lot with a lot of your compatriots, and the fact is that Oliver, for instance, and I are old friends, Oliver Platt and I, and so it's a privilege to be able to look at him and say, wow, we made it, we're still standing. Because it's a hard profession.
And it's been a busy time for you, a busy season, maybe I would say, Stephen. I mean, even during the pandemic, even though there was so much that was in flux, we were still able to see you quite a bit. And I think that is the other great thing about your fan base. When I know for some it's difficult to talk about fans, but what has that experience been like for you to see the range of influence your characters have had on audiences?
Well, specifically to this show, it's been interesting because the character is not well liked. He's I think he's understood as kind of a necessary evil in a way, or maybe evil is too strong a word. And so the fan response is one where they don't understand why he's able to get away with such stuff, or they don't understand why Ethan has helped him become the head of the ED. So it's an interesting experience as an actor who's seen by a lot of people to be in contact with fans, especially with social media. There have been too many barriers, I think, removed between the fans and the performers, which allows the fans to kind of say anything they want in a way that I'm sure they wouldn't feel comfortable doing in person. And so it's a two-edged sword. I appreciate the affirmation and the fans a lot. I mean, obviously, without an audience, you don't have art. Final. I always said that if when you're doing a play, for instance, the final character is the audience. They're there to complete the connection, and without them, it makes no sense. So it's interesting. It's something to navigate, be conscious of.
And I love the way you said that, because I think that's the thing. And I think the other thing is, in talking about your character in particular on Chicago Med, Stephen, is I think the fact that we do have such a reaction says a whole lot about, again, your range and your acting in bringing Dr. Archer to life. I know you can't tell us much, but as I mentioned, the season finale is coming up on May 25th on NBC. Our audience can check their local listings for the exact time for themselves. But what can you tell us that we might be on the lookout for, or what should we be on the lookout for?
Well, there will be a kind of a tying up of certain storylines that we've been following the last for the preceding season, and there will be a major kind of event, a kind of real visceral surprise that may leave a lot of the viewers kind of saying, what, like that, in a good way. And it's got real cliffhanger characteristics. I think the storylines that my character is involved with has to do with Ethan and his father, and the discovery of his father's life, a part of his father's life that he didn't know, and that is dealt with. There's a lot of storylines that have been followed, that we followed, that do tie up in a very satisfactory way and tee up what's going to be happening in the next season, because we're all coming back.
Love it. Well, I love that, and we look forward to watching. Again, everyone, Steven Weber has been our guest. Make sure you guys are looking out for the Season 7 finale coming up on May 25th on NBC for audience here, of course, at 7 p.m. Central, also 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But you can check your local listings for the exact time for your area. Steven, really appreciate you stopping by, and thank you so much for the great work you've been doing.
Cyrus, great to talk to you, man. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh, the pleasure's definitely all mine, and we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. So let's go make today amazing. Take care.